Welcome, Hannah Gadsby. Welcome.
Thank you.
So we've been talking about climbing buildings. I don't know what would give you adrenaline.
Well, not that, because I wouldn't try. I've got a very different relationship to gravity to you. I think I'm wired a bit wrong for adrenaline. Something like this, or performing in front of a lot of people, dead inside. But
So even before you go on stage, you don't feel it?
Yeah, I'll give it a yawn. But I've been, if you were to ask me, would I like tea or coffee, I panic. So yeah, I panic even in my own answers. I'll trip over, and I'll have a white coffee, black coffee, white milk, just to make sure people know what's going on. And it's a completely useless panic.
Why do you think it's like that?
Well, my mum said it was because I was dropped on my head as a baby, but I don't think that's it. I dare say it's because I have autism, I think that might have some. It's a neurological thing.
I mean, this autism thing.
Yeah.
It's like this is something you didn't know, right?
No, not till about four years ago. I was formally diagnosed.
Did that come as an explanation of, or a huge surprise? Or?
Yeah, I've had a few diagnoses in my time, and this was the first one that just sort of really made a lot of sense. All of a sudden, my life retroactively, I could look back and sort of go, yeah, I do like routines, don't I? And I'd say that a couple of times.
So what's your favorite routines then?
Well, I like to know more to do what I'm going to do before I do it. I get surprised very easily. I tend to eat the same things over and over again. Not at the same time. I look at this body doesn't just happen, but I do. I have the same meals. I do mix it up eventually. I've changed since I was a kid, but.
So you have to eat the same breakfast every day, the same lunch every day?
Yeah. I just don't like surprises.
But still, you come on here. We haven't met before. You come in here, you sit here.
I've done my research, though.
I see. Oh, then I'm glad you're still king.
Yeah. You're just one of these people who you just want answers to questions.
That's all we want.
That's all you want. I can do that.
Being a stand-up comedian, having a career, but not a global career, and then suddenly overnight with the show Nanette, becoming an international celebrity. How is that for a person with autism?
I think, in a weird way, it's something I can handle because nobody should be able to be comfortable with celebrity. It's a completely alien way of life, and people treat you differently in an alien way, and that's how you feel all the time with autism. So I had a life of that. I feel about as comfortable with celebrity as I do at home. So I think it's almost an advantage.
But is that the thing that as long as you're only with yourself, autism is like nothing?
Yeah. It's a relation thing. So when I'm on my own, I'm smooth. I'm really good at life. And then someone else comes in, it's like, oh, this is complicated. And they've got all their facial expressions and stuff, and it really throws me for a loop.
Did you find it helpful to actually know what it is?
Yes, yeah. It's not, I think people can be quite frightened of it, like it's a pathology and it's a restriction, but I find it's a framework, a prism. So there are things that I'll never be good at, and I can just stop trying. I was trying to climb buildings. Once I found out I couldn't, I stopped. That's for me, going to the supermarket is as frightening as climbing a building would be for a lot of people. So it's quite distressing for me. So I now know that if I'm really tired, I don't try to go to a restaurant with polished concrete floors. Like
it's like if I asked you now to, after the show, let's go have a drink, that would be like panic for you.
No, I just say no.
Oh. Yeah, I see. You wouldn't enjoy it.
Yeah, no. I try. I've always tried hard, and once I was diagnosed, I realised that, I always thought that I'd get to the starting line of normal, and now I go, oh no, I won't. So I'll just save a lot of energy with that scramble.
It's in a way, it sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of things that you don't really have to.
Yeah, I think as an older person who's got a good sense of self, yes, but I think younger people on the spectrum suffer, and I'm in a lucky position. I'm in an industry where you get special needs support anyway, because people are, oh, here's a thing. Oh, let me do that for you. I need that anyway, but now I'm just a star. But so it is, I can live it quite well now because I've stumbled into the right career for myself. With a good understanding, but it's not an easy life in this world.
You've been as a comedian. You talked about really. You made us think about labeling, about the labels we put on each other. And do you think that some people, even people with autism, get more labels than others?
I think labels are helpful, in a sense. In the beginning, you just you can, because I'm a manual thinker as it is, and so without labels, then everyone is a manual thinker. So when you walk into a room, you can just at a glance, you can get a number on a person. You just say, oh yeah, I think I know you. I've known your type from before. Whereas I go in and I go, I've never met any of you before. So without labels, that's how it is for people. So I understand the usefulness of labels. You can stereotype people, but it's when it stops people from getting to know the individual behind those labels and how perhaps they shift, the idiosyncrasies and how people don't fit their own label. And that's where the really interesting individuals come out. And I think labels stop people from being curious about people who are different, and they can tend to foster, hostility and contempt for people who are different.
Have you been labeled, do you think?
In a certain way, yes. A bit as somebody who is kind of crazy, but a small one,
How small?
I didn't size it, actually.
Bet you could climb it, whatever it is.
Yeah, let's move on. When do you label people and you feel afterwards you shouldn't? When are you wrong about people yourself?
I tend to be a bit sweeping about, straight white men. It's just like, and then I have to backtrack. A lot of them are quite nice. No, I don't.
Because when I listen to your show, of course, I'm in a way your worst case scenario, a white man, straight white man.
You're just the scenario.
Yeah,
it's not worst case. It's just the straight white man is just the scenario. And I think what I try to do is everyone else has to then adjust to the degrees that we are not a straight white man, and that's, I think, annoying. What I'd like to see is straight white man. That's another label that's not at the apex. It's just we've all got these sort of ideas, and I think I'm often wrong about people, but it's less to do with their labels and just more to do with just how to be social. Who will you find it easier to be social with? My dogs are great. I don't mind this because this is easier than being in a social situation because I know the rules. The rules are you got to be a bit quiet, you three. You're asking the questions. I answered them. But if you were to start really throwing questions in, then I had to then ask you questions. As much as I'd be, I am curious. It's just a lot to, and then when you've got to worry about being polite, I really struggle because I know I get it. It's not that I don't want to be polite, I know I get it wrong a lot because I don't also tell my face how I feel. So people think I'm intimidating, whereas I just am really happy but just have not told my face.
Would you find it easier if we all were like you? I mean...
Oh, it'd be dull though. No, I think diversity is really important. That's the real key there. Like I think, and that's, neurodiversity is really, really, I think, an important thing for society. I think society could be helped with neurodiversity. I understand how to navigate this well because I've studied, neurotypical, but I think that people who aren't neurotypical have something to offer as well. And I think if we learn each other's languages, I think that's better. I think, anyone who knows two languages is better than someone who knows one, just generally.
How do you deal with fans? I mean, fans coming up to you and want something from you.
Well, I've learned a really neat trick to hug and push someone away at the same time. That's really, because apparently huggers win. They're just like, I'm a hugger, and it's all over if you're a non-hugger. So I've learned to just at the same. It's almost a Tai Chi movement. It's like, and I just let them know that I don't.
It's very useful, I think.
I don't get less awkward, and then they just have to really, really, really have to answer the question themselves. Do I want to continue this conversation? Because I can sometimes, and it's quite a big thing for me to see the disappointment on someone's face, but they're just like, oh, you're not fun, are you? I'm like, no, it's not an act.
I think it's wonderful to talk to you anyways.
In this situation.
Yeah.
But once the cameras are off.
No, I won't ask you for it, I
you were
promise.
just like looking for an out.
Yeah, no, I will not, I won't be a problem.
No, sometimes I'm the problem though, because sometimes I'll get on a subject I really want to talk about, and you're like, it's no.
no end to it.
Yeah.
Why Douglas? Your show, the show that you're coming to Scandinavia with, it's called Douglas.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, there's a few reasons behind it. The first one, in the interest of equality, I thought my first, Nanette, which brought me to the attention of most people. I thought, a male name, perhaps. But Nanette was a stranger that I met that sort of made me think about all the things that were in the show. The reason I called Nanette, though, took up the first 5 to 10 minutes of the show, but then it was just edited out. So nobody really knows why it's called Nanette.
It's just a name.
Yeah. So that's pretty much, may as well be as random for Douglas. But, Nanette was a stranger, and I thought my life has become so strange, and I'm just meeting strangers all the time now, and it's not all bad, but it is a lot and destabilizing for me. And so I thought if I named it after my dog, then he might lead me home. That's not working. But we'll keep on plugging along. Plus it's nice to have, it's good for merchandise to have a picture of your dog on a cup.
So that's
great.
But you have 2 dogs?
I do.
How's that for the other dog?
He's a dog. He just doesn't care.
You wouldn't care.
No, very food orientated. That's why we get along.
It's some people find you controversial.
Yeah, they do.
Do you meet them, or are they just online?
Oh, they're just online. Yeah, no, people are not very brave in real life at all. It's also online. It's a lot easier to forget that the people that you're angry about are actual human beings. But that's a human thing. I think we're all guilty of that to a certain extent, the disassociation it's much harder to say what you really think in front of the people. That, you know, but they're a bit odd, people who hate what I do, because they hate what I do because of what I did to comedy. And I sort of think, you know, if that's the takeaway from that show, like, you're really angry about me not being funny. It's like, I was angry that I was beaten up. There's a hierarchy of issues there. And
Yeah, but because just to explain, the idea is that what you wanted was to quit being self-deprecating.
yes.
That was the essence of it.
Yeah, I think insofar as when you're being self-deprecating on stage, you're representing not just yourself, but also people who identify with you. And I felt like, I think you know, I just don't think the world needs another woman putting her body down, or you know, another gay person, you know, another lesbian saying, "Oh, I'm miserable." I just think people who hate what you aren't laughing because they think you're funny. They're laughing because they agree with the underlying. So they're, you know, and I just don't think it's a healthy idea. I'm quite happy to be self-deprecating about, you know, being rich. I'm really rich now. And I'm really happy to be self-deprecating about being white, English speaking, you know, all these things where there's a certain amount of power involved in it. But I won't be self-deprecating about, you know, autism or, you know, being a woman or being gay or any of these things, because I'm not just speaking for myself when you have a public platform. I think there's a certain amount of responsibility that you have to take, you know, when you have certain, you know, freedoms and a platform and a voice.
What would you say? What would you say is the biggest misconception that people have about you?
People think I'm intimidating, and that's, you know, fair. Like, it's because I don't tell my face, but also I am very upfront. I don't, you know, pull my punches. If something doesn't make sense to me, or if something doesn't seem fair, then I will point it out. But I do it in person. I don't need the tippity-tappity to do that.
That's a brave thing, I think.
And no, I think it's autism. Yeah.
I just tried to say something nice, but of course, yeah. Anyway, it's been wonderful to talk to you. I wonder if I can ask you to stay for a little while.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And meet even another person.
Oh, yeah.
That's coming on.
No worries.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, this is fun.
Good. Yeah, and you've all been so quiet, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah Gadsby. Hope you enjoyed the clip. For more interesting conversations, please hit subscribe.